So now that you have reached a significant milestone,
Okay.
Not a significant. I'm sorry.
Hey.
Yes, a significant milestone. Stuff happens. You can choose to gain a new skill. New. Yes, new. One additional skill point which you can spend to buy a new skill at average or increase an existing skill by 1 rank up until 4. I just realized the skill cap for the game is still at 4. Plus 4.
So what do we? How do we get superb?
Later.
Yeah, when we hit a major milestone, when you finish an arc, then you can choose to, if you've arranged everything, if there's been enough scenarios that you've had the ability to arrange everything such that you can choose to elevate a skill to superb.
Oh, okay.
Or beyond the skill cap at a major milestone.
Well, then I'm going to go ahead and add provoke.
Provoke! If you have any severe consequences you don't already. In addition, you can do all of the things of your, or you can do one thing from a minor milestone. So, switch the rank value of any 2 skills, except the one that you just added. Change any single stunt for another stunt, purchase a new stunt if you have the refresh to do so, or rename one character aspect that isn't your high concept. So you brought Provoke. Did you buy any skills?
Yes. Computer science.
Cool. What the?
I got the email that the service was done.
Yay!
Service was done?
We've switched ISPs.
You went away from Comcast?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
We did.
Who'd you switch to?
CenturyLink.
Oh.
Still not plox. I know how much you boys love plox.
I know how much I love Cox too. Oh, that's right. That was the other thing I was gonna do. I found audio. In fact, I found a website that does nothing but audio for games.
Oh.
It's kind of awesome. Called Tabletop Audio.
Yeah, I think you. Well, that was so creative. If Tabletop Audio would like to send us money,
No,
They're free.
they have a Patreon?
Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon. They don't have any money to spend.
if Tabletop's Patreon would like to send us money,
Anyway,
I think that means that we would then start our own Patreon, which no.
if Patreon would like to send
If
us
Patreon would just like to give us the money, then that's okay too. We'll take it. What are you looking for, babe? Why?
it's technical because we're not on a spaceship anymore, so this is the appropriate cricket noises from walking through an alien world.
You! An excellent segue, Sharon, thank you. You all! No, you are not, in fact, on a spaceship anymore. However, pan out. As we zoom the camera off-world into high orbits.
Aliens!
And then off into the solar system. Into a dark room. In a spaceship, with a window made of some clear material that allows you to see out into the universe without getting dead.
Because windows are on spaceships. Structurally.
That's structurally unsound. Generally speaking. Also, radiation and bad.
Yeah, nothing to look at.
Nothing to look at. Where a figure clad in what seems to be mostly decorative armor adorned with thousands of screaming faces. Some fanged and some not. Is standing, staring out over the window. The door opens. Footsteps can be heard. And then a very crisp salute. Yes, you can hear the salute. Generally more of the chest-pounding variety.
Just so hard to snap your own neck.
Well, The figure turns back, its face mostly shadowed. Report, Assad. The other figure that had entered the room, says, Captain Tammuz, the ship seems to have been destroyed. Did you see any bodies? No, sir. Nor was organic matter found on the sensors afterwards. Of course not, Assad. I've been listening to the recording. There's sounds.
You idiots!
Your orders, Captain. Kill them, Assad. In the name of the Empire. Another salute. Footsteps, and the door closes. Meanwhile, murder! Back on the planet.
Wow, that was weird. Did we all see that?
Apparently.
Weird.
Oh, it's the
No, I
strangest
did
out of
that.
body experience.
Yeah, that was strange. Oh man.
No, it was like a cutscene in a TV show where the main actors are still unaware of it.
Yeah, that was so weird.
I actually did find a good one for the planet, though, which was awesome.
Now watch as you can't find it again.
Nope, it's right there. There's a total of like 57 tracks, maybe. There's no not finding one.
What?
More added on a regular basis. I keep expecting this side to just fall out because of the other train now. So I'm like afraid to lean on it. Back on the surface. You guys are being led by Sifu Jim and his group, who continue to talk amongst themselves, mostly. Sifu Jim is fairly quiet, but is willing to answer your questions during the overland trek back to the village, which takes a while. It is still nighttime. Good job, Nancy.
You're welcome.
By the time you get there. However, that decides to wreak havoc with your circadian rhythms. Since you've been walking for more than a day, maybe stopped for a rest. Actually, no, it wouldn't be more than a day.
It's only 30 hours.
You've probably been walking for a good 8 hours. Still no sign of dawn. Still no sign of dawn.
Well, she forgot to get on the spaceship in the first place.
God damn her.
She was late that day.
Yeah,
Probably
she
too
did.
fast.
She can't help but break something. She doesn't come on the ship.
Right? Why the fuck was she even scheduled to be on the ship to begin with? God damn.
You guys, to be fair, it is kind of a hard march out of the clearing. Sharon has the map. So I can't give you exact directions as to where you're going, because I can't see the map.
Subtle hint. Subtle hint. Subtle hint.
I can see the map just fine.
That's nice.
Wait. So can our audience.
Yes, they
Okay,
can.
there we go.
You ass. So yes, you guys had about a kilometer to the southeast, west, southwest, and then you guys start heading south. For those of you versed in overland navigation, which is mostly you probably the other two as well, but however your characters want to decide, that's which way you're going. So it's about a hard march for the first 1.5 kilometers, and then we're using kilometers because that's a top one map. And then you guys enter more of like a heavily forested area, or heavily jungled, I should say, because it's all a jungle planet. There's You can tell, I mean, as you were walking, this all pretty much kind of looked like heavy jungle. Wall of green. Brown and various bright colors. Animals, plants, otherwise. As you guys approach, you realize that this is kind of the lull between two very dense pieces of jungle. Not something you would have noticed if you didn't know it was already there. And so Seafood Jim, normal leader, leads you through this, and eventually you guys arrive at the village. The village is, well, first off, many things. Other than the major plateaus, even on the plateau, the ground is fairly uneven. There are high spots, there are low spots. In any jungle, that's really hard to tell, unless you're, like, standing in front of it. The village is kind of worked partially into it and partially underground. Seafood Jim has led you around some fairly severe low spots. They're not quite chasms, but they go at least 200 feet down, where you can see most of the plant life stops or significantly alters character when you get down there. Consider you're on a plateau above the surface of a planet, already fairly high up, at about 1 atmosphere. So, down there is death, crushing death, and he explains that, yes, pressure increases as you go down, especially with the amount of water vapor in the air. On some of the lower surfaces of the planet, there is in fact straight ice, despite the temperature. It's pressurized to the point of sublimation, which is cool.
Till you fall.
Until you fall, and then...
That sounds awful.
Well, I think your planetologist might have something different to say about that. But...
That's who you remind me of right now. The puppet from Saw.
Yeah, you're not gonna let this go. We should play everything more.
Want to play a game?
Do I get to put a reverse bear trap on your head?
No.
If you saw your own feet off?
Maybe.
No. He leads you around through the jungle and into a village built partially inside hillocks of ground, partially outside, partially inside, well, not inside trees, but around trees, utilizing bridges. Oh man. We're not on the forest from Vendor.
Are you sure?
Because it's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it kind of does.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Apparently the Forest Moon Vendor was a gas giant.
The Forest Moon Vendor was around a gas giant. But no.
So apparently we're on the Forest Moon Vendor. So where's the Ewoks?
No Ewoks. You just get humans. Humans.
Okay,
And the
well,
Forest Moon of Endor was not a jungle. It was a temperate rainforest.
You are looking or something?
Yeah.
so we're on a tropical
Forest Moon of Endor.
Forest Moon of Endor.
Yeah, so they can't have Ewoks because Ewoks are furry.
That's not
They'd overheat.
Lots of furry things in
Yeah, in fact, fur can also help keep an animal cool.
I don't know what you're talking about. Blasphemy. I'm sorry, my planetologist didn't tell me that. I can't.
There are no monkeys in
Fur can help keep an animal cool.
Hey!
No, I still don't believe you.
Will you
I don't-
Google?
No.
I don't think the geologist should be speaking about biology.
Oh man. You guys are encouraged to stay within the village and just kind of hang out until such a time as your bodies adapt to the planet. And all of the pathogens and histamines. Allergens.
Don't kill us.
Don't kill us.
You mentioned they have a library.
Seafood gym.
Yes.
The repository?
The repository.
That's elsewhere.
Where elsewhere?
Not close.
Like different planet elsewhere, or might as well be a different planet?
It's not that far.
But we're not walking to it today.
Far enough that, and certainly through terrain that would be best served once you are acclimated to Rokugan.
Well, do you guys have your own small
What?
library?
The planet. We call it Rokugan. That was the site of character creation. You were there. It's been on the game creation sheet since
Yeah.
day one.
Yeah.
I put it in the vault, and now I'm mad about it all over again.
Just leave it at the altar.
Because I'm sure I was upset about it the first time.
You actually were totally okay with it.
Yeah.
You may have been zoned out. And we just kind of accepted that.
We did.
Anyway, I'd like to know how big the village is. Are we talking like 100 people, 200 people, 2
Consider
people?
that this planet, at the very least, is the last bastion of humanity. What would you expect?
I'm hoping for more. Because you need like a couple of thousand people to maintain a population. And if you don't have that, then you might as well just not be the last bastion of humanity anymore. Because we can't maintain ourselves at this juncture.
Do you think all of it would be in this village?
That's why I'm asking. Because it might be scattered around the planet.
And that's why I am then allowing
Oh.
you to...
Oh, fuck. I forgot.
You can narratively choose.
I guess
You may
I
narratively
have to
choose.
Alright. I'm going to say...
You're supposed to be an auto loop. Son of a bitch.
Probably not.
It is. It's part of the thing.
I'm going to say it's very sizable, and since it's, what, half above ground, half not? Is what you're saying, that it's kind of built into the cave, kind of built into trees?
Yeah, the village is designed to be maintained. Architecturally, the village is designed to be maintained at a fairly constant elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes going above, sometimes, but rarely ever going below.
Okay.
Or not very far below. So that often necessitates building around structures and inside other structures.
Okay. So
Geographic structures.
it would be hard to get a good judge of the size, because it's weird and not like flat on the ground. Also big ass trees.
In the scope of 2 months, which is the approximate adjustment time, as
Then,
quoted by Sifujin.
okay.
True.
May or may not have been lying, but as quoted by Sifujin.
Then you'll probably have time to at least walk around the village. So I'm gonna say around 1,000 people in this location, but there are other locations. It's a big planet. Yeah, we could be all together. Also, 2 months of these days. How many days is that?
No, you don't.
60-hour days.
Interestingly enough, Sifujin still measures with standard time.
How on Earth is that helpful? On not Earth. How on Rokugan is that helpful?
Robucon.
Whatever.
Get it right.
I don't care. How on Earth how on not Earth is that helpful?
It isn't. The short answer is it isn't. Survival instincts dictate that you should.
2 months on this
measure
planet is 5 months on that planet.
Yeah, every Robucon day is 2.5 Earth days. Exactly. Silly math in your head, person.
Fuck Max, I do that for workout. You come here and do it.
Amen.